In this video, I'm going to talk about how I manage my own ADHD without the use of medications. Hi everybody, I'm Dr. LeGrand. If you are new to this channel, I have ADHD and dyslexia, and today I'm going to talk about basically 8 essential things that I always implement as far as helping me manage my own ADHD without using medications. Just to kind of give you a little background story, I didn't really discover until I had ADHD until I was actually in college. I knew I had it as a kid, but really wasn't diagnosed until I was in college. Did use medications for a little bit. It didn't really work for me, made me feel like a zombie, and I decided to, over the years, find different things that helped me without having to use medications. It was a challenge, but I was able to find things over the years, especially when I went into medical school, and especially now that I help other patients with ADHD, I really kind of narrowed it down to really help me. And these are the things that I want to share with you what I do. And I think it just kind of open the doors to help you guys understand what I do specifically to manage my ADHD. Now, it isn't for everybody. Everybody has different levels of ADHD and, of course, different severity. But this is what I do to manage my ADHD without medications. And so let's start with the first one. So the first one, and I think it's a huge one. I think anybody with ADHD really should consider this, whether you have a job or you're an entrepreneur or you're doing things on your own. What you need to be doing is delegating. So the first thing is to delegate. Hire somebody to delegate the things that us people with ADHD tend to not do really good at. And it might be different from person to person, but for the most part, it's usually those things like responding to emails, to be able to do like the small paperwork tasks, do all the little things that are the menial tasks that we tend to forget, and then we forget. And then, of course, things get behind at work or things within your own business, and they get put on the side. And so by delegating, this is the biggest thing that's really helped me, is I've been hiring more and more people to really kind of understand that I'm not so good at, and so I hire somebody else to do it, whether that is a virtual assistant. I mean, honestly, you can hire a virtual assistant even if you have your own job. I mean, you're working for a different company and you're finding that you're not really keeping up with like the small tasks and stuff like that. Hire a personal assistant overseas. You can hire a personal assistant overseas for $200, $500 a month and make a huge difference in your life, because it can bring you back more time in your space, be able to spend more time with people that you love, but also have a happier boss or just be better at your business, to be able to stay on task. Delegation is something that every person with ADHD, I think, really should do. It makes a huge difference, because we got to realize, guess what? We're not good at everything, and that's okay. But we are really good at things that we know we can be really hyper-focused on. And if we can narrow that down and focus on that one thing and really narrow it down and be really good at it, and then delegate the rest, then we really can excel in life. It's about letting those things go and, investing a little bit of money to be able to have somebody else do those things for you. The second thing, and these are not in any particular order as far as, best and everything, I just put these 8 things, as far as what I think has helped me with my ADHD without having to use medications. But the second one is exercise. I think exercise is a really important element. What I typically do, I've changed my exercise routines differently. I do a lot of running, but I've actually been doing more lifting exercises, strength exercise, because I think it does make an impact on not only your health, but also your mind, because when you are exercising more, it does release lots of different hormones, especially human growth hormones. It releases good chemicals such as, dopamine, norepinephrine. It does also really help with kind of more of the endorphins. It helps a lot with having a very healthy mind and improving the mind, especially when you are exercising. You do tend to actually put yourself in a situation where your body's going to crave more of the things that it really needs and more of the healthier foods, which will lead into my next thing, which is the third thing, is healthy foods. Now, I've talked a lot of videos on this, and you can check those videos out. This is not for this type of video, but typically, you want to be incorporating more vegetables, more healthier fats. Definitely got a lot of different proteins in your diet, and have a very well-balanced diet, because people with ADHD do need a lot of different amino acids. A lot of our amino acids come from very healthy proteins, but also we need a lot of different vitamins and minerals. And that's why you try to use food as your medicine. And when you're using food as your medicine, that's going to be the best thing long-term, the long game with your ADHD, when you're incorporating good, healthy foods, a clean diet, because when you're eating crappy stuff, your mind is not going to be able to work off of that. it needs to work off of really good foundation of good building blocks, which is going to come from really good, healthy foods. And that has made all the difference for me. When I started incorporating this earlier on in my life, I did see a huge change with that. Fourth thing, now this one's interesting. I have actually not talked about this in this channel, is fasting. So you probably have heard of intermittent fasting. There's lots of different variances of intermittent fasting, but something that I encourage not only for myself, but a lot of my patients and clients that I work with, why fasting can be so beneficial. Well, fasting, when you're in a fasted state. Now, what I do typically, it really just varies. There's the typical, where you can fast 16 hours a day, where you eat in an 8-hour window frame. That's a very basic format, but I'm talking about like doing like a 24-hour fast, 36-hour fast. This is where you actually unlock things, what we call as autophagy. Now, autophagy means self-eating. Okay, that's what that means. But it's not self-eating the body, it's self-eating a lot of the old dying cells. So that leaves room for regenerating new cells, especially if you eat the right foods. When you break your fast, you can regenerate new cells, like such as new brain cells. You can regenerate a lot of different things in our body of new cells, and it's going to really help you in the long term. But what I love about fasting is what I find is that you actually switch your brain fuel to using sugar for fuel to fat as fuel, because when you're in a fasted state, it goes into ketosis, which that means it's just breaking down the ketone bodies, which comes from our fat. So it's breaking down those fat cells to be able to use as fuel, and that is definitely a better source of fuel for the brain. And I actually fast on days that I have the busiest day at work, and I am more efficient, more proficient with my time, because I am in that state of mind where I know I'm using my fat as fuel for my brain, and I can be more efficient. So therefore, I'm not distracted. I'm very hyper-focused, and it really makes a huge difference for me. The fifth thing that I would say that's really important is association. So things that you associate yourself with. That means the stuff that you read, the stuff that you listen to, the stuff that you watch, the people that you hang out with. It all starts with associations of what you want to accomplish in life, your destiny. If you can give yourself people, surround yourself and read things and listen to things that are more positive. So I always listen to positive things, a lot of motivational tapes. I also read books that are more inspiring to me. I watch things that are more inspiring. I hang around people that are more positive versus pessimistic. It's a very, vicious weed when you hang around with people that are very pessimistic and negative. It's just not a good environment, because it's not going to get you anywhere. And especially with people with ADHD, you need more of that positive, because things are more challenging for us. When you can surround yourself with more positive things, it can only help you reach you further to your goals that you want to succeed in. Now, the sixth thing is about supplements. And I've talked a lot about in this channel about supplements helping with ADHD, or just help improving your mind, optimizing your mind. Well, I'm going to go over what I'm currently taking. I know you guys are probably interested in what I currently take. So I got my supplements here. I'm going to go through each one and why I do take them. The very first one that I would say, is a big one that I've been doing right now, is this Keto Electrolyte Powder. It's by Trace Minerals. Now, I've talked about how the importance of electrolytes, because us people with ADHD, we tend to be a little bit more electrolyte deficient, especially like in magnesium is a huge one. And I like this, especially on the days that I fast, because it's important to take electrolytes when you're fasting. When you're doing a water fast, when you're drinking just water, you should be taking electrolytes. And I like this because there is no additive sugars. And there's also no, food colorings or dyes. It's just straight up electrolytes. And it has a little bit of natural flavoring of just a little bit of lemon, which is great, or lime, I think is what it is. Yeah, it's lemon and lime. And I love this. So that's what I'm currently taking for my electrolytes. Really important, because why electrolytes are important? Well, guess what? Our brain chemistry, our neurotransmitters rely all on electrolytes, especially throughout our body, relies on electrolytes. Very critical to be taking something like that. Okay. Next thing that I do take, I'll pull out here, is adrenal desiccated. This is by Standard Process, something I also really do give to a lot of my patients, because a lot of people tend to be adrenal fatigued. What that means is basically when your adrenals is what produces epinephrine, norepinephrine, and cortisol. Cortisol is our energy hormone. It also can really have an impact, especially epinephrine, norepinephrine. All three of them can impact our focus and attention. So when you are adrenal fatigued, that can impact your focus and attention. By implementing this, it helps boost the energy, especially I take it first thing in the morning. I take this as needed now, because I feel like I've really kind of managed it. So I take this as needed. But adrenal desiccated, definitely something really to look at as far as helping you have more energy, have more focus and productivity. Next thing is vitamin D. Now, I'm currently not taking it right now because it's the summer months, and us people with red hair, we tend to actually process vitamin D a lot better, just because redhead people tend to be more white and pale, And I think it's just because in our genetics, we tend to not be vitamin D deficient as much. But I live here in the Northwest, so everyone tends to be vitamin D deficient. But in the summer months, I don't usually take it. But in the winter months, I will take a maintenance dose of 5,000 IUs. I think it's a good, maintenance dose to take if you are low in vitamin D. I always tell people to take about 10,000 IUs for at least, a couple months just to get your vitamin D levels back up, and then use a maintenance dose of 5,000 IUs. Now, the next one here is BCQ. So BCQ is, and this is by Vital Nutrients. You could tell I have some of these a lot. I love Vital Nutrients. That's a great company. And BCQ, it stands for boswellia, curcumin, and quercetin. All three of those are anti-inflammatory. So a lot of times in our brain, and also through our body, we can have inflammation. And now, granted, I've done a lot of testing on myself before even taking any of these supplements. You've heard me talk about how I do testing for brain chemistry, testing for biochemistry. All really important before you take supplements. And that's what I do, is really, even for myself, do some testing, see it, and then I'll retest to see if I need to adjust my supplements regimen. But BCQ is a great one. It really does keep my inflammation down, because I herniated my lower back when I was actually in medical school, when I was more stressed out, and I couldn't go running for a couple of years. And after that, BCQ is what made a huge difference, where it keeps that inflammation down. But also I've noticed it even with when I do go running, when I do take it consistently, I don't get those after pains when I am exercising. The next really important one is a B complex. Now, B complex, and you guys heard me talk about this, is the activated form of B vitamins. So, that's, things as methylpocolamin, also things such as, B6. This one has folate, biotin, has thiamine, riboflavin. All these are really kind of important things to be taking. Why with B complexes? Because our neurotransmitters rely a lot on all the different B vitamins. And as you know, with neurotransmitters such as dopamine and norepinephrine, those tend to really suffer a lot with people with ADHD. So it's important to take something like that. The next one I also do take is SAMe. This is great for really kind of calming the nervous system down. It keeps me more calm. When I can be more calm, I can be more focused and be able to be more productive. Okay, so that's another one. L-theanine is also a really big one that I'm taking currently right now. And this helps really levels with, like, when I was running my last tests, I tend to had imbalances in my norepinephrine and epinephrine levels, as well as serotonin. And L-theanine is a great one to actually help manage those types of neurotransmitters. And so it tends to actually also keep us more relaxed and be able to be more productive and focused. Okay. The other one, last one, I have two more to talk about. See, I'm taking quite a few supplements, you guys. You might think like, oh my goodness, why are you taking so many supplements? Because it makes a difference. Now, granted, I do rotate a lot of these different supplements. I'm not always taking them consistently. Sometimes I take a break for a couple months because I want to always be using food as my medicine. But sometimes there's certain times where I might feel like, okay, I need to start taking supplements again. Okay. During usually summer months, I'm usually really clean on my diet, usually doing really better on exercising and being more consistent. So I'm only taking a few of these at a time, but then sometimes I'm taking all of them all at once. So it really just kind of depends how I'm feeling. This one, you guys have seen me talk about this, is DL-phenylalanine. And DL-phenylalanine, why that's important, is an amino acid that typically also a lot of people with ADHD tend to be low in, because of our PEA levels. That's also a neurotransmitter that's also tends to be really low with people with ADHD, and it helps with our focus, also with our attention, because it's a precursor breakdown to dopamine, which as well, dopamine tends to be low with people with ADHD. And then the last thing is, a lot of you guys have taken this, is maybe not this brand, but definitely omega-3s. Okay, fish oils. I like this one by Barleans. It has these, orange flavor. It's kind of reminds me of basically those orange cream popsicles, and I recommend this all to my patients because I love the flavor. It has 3 times better absorption. That's why I like this brand. It's great. It tastes nice. It doesn't taste fishy. And omega-3 is always really important because when we incorporate omega-3s, those are really healthy fats. Basically, our brain needs healthy fats. Okay, that's going to help with the brain, but also omega-3s helps with inflammation. So it's a great anti-inflammatory. It's also a great antioxidant, and that helps protect the brain. So it has all these great benefits to that. Okay, now moving on to number 7. That was a long list, but number 7, and I think this is really important. This has made a huge impact for me, especially with my ADHD. is spirituality. Now, I don't know where you're on as far as spirituality, religion, but it is an important part of my life, and I think it's important to always believe in something that is greater than you, okay? Whether that is believing in Mother Nature, whether that is believing in God, whether that's believing in whatever your religion is, I think being really connected to something can make a big difference because it gives you a higher purpose in life. So me, I'm a religious person. I'm Christian, and so I really have a connection with my Heavenly Father, and it has made all the difference in the world of all my struggles that I have dealt with in my life. Having ADHD and dyslexia is challenging, as you guys know who do have ADHD or dyslexia, or if you have both. And going through college, I know I would have never gone through that with having that relationship with my Heavenly Father. And that has made all the difference in the world. I would probably put that at the highest for me. And I get that not everybody is religious, but if you could find a higher power in believing in something, it really does help you give a higher purpose to push forward, to keep trying, to keep moving forward, because it makes all the difference in the world, especially when you have ADHD or if you have any kind of other mental health issues, because those could be challenges, whether it's depression or anxiety or any other mental health issues. Believing in something, or if you are in a religion, to reconnect and having that purpose, it makes all the difference. And the eighth and final thing that I would say is hiring a personal coach. Yeah, I still have a personal coach helping me in my business. Why it's so important is because they hold me accountable, but they're also making sure that I'm getting my things done, I'm staying focused, and it's been someone that's gone and paved the path, right? Because I want to make it to the next level. And I have always invested in coaching. When I was in college, I found mentors and teachers and coaches throughout college, and now also when I'm running my own business, I need someone to help me, guide and direct me and hold me accountable so I can make that level. And it has made a huge impact because I was able to get through college and medical school with ADHD and dyslexia because I had mentors and coaches. And then through my business, running a successful business, that has made all the difference. And I would say that is such a huge thing that you can really invest in yourself if you have ADHD, or for anybody who wants to just have an optimal mind to be able to perform better. Doesn't mean you need to have ADHD. I mean, anybody can really benefit from this. And if you are trying to have an optimal mind, have better focus, then I highly encourage you to watch my free training in the description below. It is my free training, my proprietary process of helping you have an optimal mind, have a focused mind, so you can be more productive and present. Also, in that training at the end, you could book a free call with me if you do qualify, if you would like me to be able to help you, to be that coach, to hold you accountable, and be able to help you actually change your life, finally. And so in that, like I said, it's in the description below. Watch that training, and I will see you in that training. This is Dr. LeGrand signing out. Remember, you have an optimal mind. Thanks.